Radio. Raheem here with Eddie Hearn. We're going to keep this short because you promised me a beer.
You going back to Hilton?
Oh, yeah.
It's
That's where the
litty,
beer
lit,
is
isn't it?
flowing.
As the kids say.
By the
It's
way,
lit.
it's lit. And I want to
I've
thank
noticed
you.
You've got a weird ear.
It's not weird.
I've
It's
got a weird ear.
Vulcan.
Yeah, but look at mine. I've only got one earlobe. Right? Spot
Yeah.
that. Like,
Ah.
so, and you got a bit of a weird ear. So we're weird ear partners.
And
Touch.
yeah, man. Yeah, I think that indicates a special breeding.
Yes. If you have a weird ear, you're a special guy.
And now,
Raheem and Hearn have weird ears. We're special people. He's got a weird ear.
proper jumpers and proper colors. We
Exactly.
finally gotten the memo
Come on.
correct.
Okay.
And tonight you got the fighter correct. A lot of people doubted Amir Khan. A lot of promoters doubted Amir Khan. You took a chance, you picked the guy up, and tonight he had a sensational knockout. What does this mean for him as a fighter and for Matchroom promoting that fighter?
Well, I think we're very proud to promote Amir Khan. I think he's a standout star of world boxing. Tonight was the first step back. You know, we picked a guy in Le Greco who we knew is not an elite welterweight, but on 12 weeks' notice against a guy that's been out for 2 years, coming back off a knockout, was the right guy. We knew that 10 times out of 10, if Amir Khan was the same prime Amir Khan, he beats Le Greco. If he wasn't, he'd struggle. The way he won was sensational. You know, if he would have gone through the fight, had some sloppy rounds, got caught, maybe got hurt a little bit, but to come out and the energy in the arena tonight, I've not really witnessed that for a long time with a fight that ended so soon. You know, normally you'd sort of get, but people were going nuts. And what he showed was that Amir Khan is back, and people take notice of Amir Khan. He is electric to watch, and tonight was a big night for his career.
You mentioned Adrien Broner. Everyone's talking Kell Brook, but in this case, I somewhat agree with you. Maybe it's not time for Brook just yet, considering the weight differential. Khan's just back. Give him a couple fights, good fights, but a couple. Is Broner, if he wins tonight, of course, the choice?
Not the choice, but definitely a potential choice. I mean, the Brook fight is massive, and it's the biggest fight for both of them financially. It's also, by the way, a brilliant fight. I mean, I would love to see that fight. Broner is an option. Thurman is an option. Crawford is an option. Garcia is an option. You know, these are all massive fights.
Who do you figure is the best option money-wise? Like, what's the biggest fight other than Brook? I'm taking Brook off the table for now. Step a little forward, Eddie. I want you to look good.
Broner, I don't always look good.
The light, man.
Broner, I don't know. Garcia rematch, I don't know. They're all like for like. I think those fights. Broner, Garcia, financially. Great fights, all of it. I mean, I'm so excited to be involved in the possibility of those fights. You know, it's brilliant. And like tonight was just about getting the win, but getting the win like that is so different to just getting the win. You know.
Amir has mentioned in the build-up to this fight that he's not sure if Canelo might have been cheating, even when they fought. We'll never know that.
We'll never know.
But you haven't been a promoter for as long as you've had, dealt with fighters that have had issues. What is your take on the judgment of the State Athletic Commission in Nevada, giving him 6 months, no fine, ready to go in September?
I think that I was actually surprised that they even didn't let him box on May the 5th, because it would have been completely wrong, but it really wouldn't have surprised me. So I was kind of pleased that they stopped that fight from happening on May the 5th. That was something. 6 months isn't enough. No fine is ridiculous. I don't really understand that. I keep saying, was he cheating, or did he eat some bad meat? When I say that, everyone looks at me like I'm thick. So, are you stupid? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But what I do know is if you fail a test, you have to live with the consequences. Taking away the 6-month ban, Canelo will always be labelled as a drug cheat, whether he did it or not. And that's much worse than any ban. You know? So 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, it doesn't really matter. He's going to fight again. But what he will have to live with is the fact that every Instagram post, every Twitter post, every interview, every member of the public he walks past will look at him as a cheat in boxing. And that will always take away his legacy in the sport. And that is a lot more crushing than any fine that can be delivered.
Anthony and yourself actually after the Parker fight said, okay, well, if it's not Wilder, it's probably his mandatory Povetkin. It's not your choice. That's who's the mandatory, so that makes sense to fight him. But he's had his drug cheat issues in the past as well. Are you going to institute any kind of different testing? Does that concern you? I mean, a cheat is always a cheat.
Definitely concerns us. But you know, the only way we would take that fight, and we've spoke to WBA, is if there was VADA testing from when the contract is signed, which, in my opinion, has to be at least 16 weeks out to be even relevant. 8 weeks is like, you know, we used to do VADA testing on fights for 8 weeks. People tell me, Ed, you need 12, you need 16. So the random testing's great, but we also implement in the big fights, particularly the Joshua fights, VADA testing for 16 weeks. So, like, literally, they get tested 4 or 5 times, 6 times in camp, plus the UCAD. So it's the only way around it, because the problem with the ban is, the 6-month ban is that it doesn't send a tough enough message to people who are thinking about cheating. Oh, well, if I get caught, it's only 6 months. You know, what's that? It sounds like it's not even a fight. Yeah. So,
and is it 6 months for everybody, or just 6 months for Canelo, right?
Yeah, but that's life, you know? It's not even just boxing, that's life. You know, it evolves around money and politics, and of course, if there is a high-profile fighter like Canelo, he is going to get treated differently to a 6-round fighter who gets. If a 6-round fighter done it, maybe he gets banned for 3 years.
Right.
You know, I mean, look at what Dillian White failed 5 years ago with a pre-workout drink that was just off the shelf, and what they give him, like 2 years. Right. Canelo gets done with clenbuterol and he gets 6 months. But it's not that. You know, I was talking to Liam Smith tonight. I said, was he doping when he boxed you? He's like, don't know. He felt a bit strong. You know, so we just don't know, do we? But we'll see.
I'm not going to hold you too much longer, Eddie. But in that regard, is there a fix? Is this something we just have to live with in the sport?
The only fix, I believe we have a fix in the UK with UCAD, because it is the only constitution, the only commission who is actively supporting random testing for their boxers. The problem in America is there are so many commissions. There is no ruling body, so each commission has to enforce random testing. Like the WBC are trying it, the WBA are trying it, but the problem is no one's getting tested enough. We've got fighters sign up to WBC, they haven't been tested. The only way you can do it is to get the Nevada Commission, the New York Commission, you know, the Texas Commission, to all the fighters that are signed to their commission are under a random testing program. It's very expensive. Now, when we do VADA testing for a Joshua fight, it's $30,000 or $40,000. That's a lot of money. You can't do that for every fight. So it's a problem, but unless we eradicate it from the sport, people will lose faith in the sport, and you'll get a situation like cycling, where you're watching cycling, you're watching the Tour de France, and maybe this is just me, but I'm sure many people have this perception, oh, well, they're all cheating anyway. That's what I think when I watch cycling. Right. They probably all are. Same with the sprinting, isn't it? It's like, really? It's like Bolt. You know, I hope Bolt has never cheated once, but he's cheated. It's like, is he? I hope he's not. If he's not, but
I think he's got different kind of ears. This guy might be special.
Maybe. Okay.
Kell Brook, your mate, you brought him ringside. Yeah, to be fair,
he was uninvited, by the way, in the ring.
Was he?
Yes,
I was gonna say that's usually.
He said to me, "Should I get in the ring after?" I said, "No, stay there. Sky will talk to you, blah blah blah." And I was talking to Amir. Next thing, he's here. I said, "Listen, stand there." But Amir dealt with him perfectly. You know, he said his bit. The crowd went nuts. Kell said his bit, and it's a massive fight.
He's recently confronted Errol Spence.
He's at it non-stop.
Yeah. Well, Errol Spence, 147 right now. He's running the table. Is that a fight that you think is wise for him? And if so,
Errol Spence rematch.
Yeah, I mean he's clamoring for it, but he's moved weight divisions. What are you looking for
Brook? Okay. Listen, Kell Brook can fight Jarrett Hurd. He can fight Charlo. He can fight Errol Spence. There's other fights at 154. He wants to fight Amir Khan, but he's just up for it. He's excited. He wants to get back in the ring, and you know he's a good fighter. He's a big name right now, and you know he'll be out in July.
Lastly, let me touch on Danny Jacobs because you got him coming up. With this shenanigans with Canelo, Triple G couldn't get a proper opponent. How does that change the positioning for Danny Jacobs?
So Danny Jacobs is in a WBA final eliminator against Sulecki. The winner will be the mandatory for Gennady Golovkin. There is also the chance that if Gennady Golovkin gives up the IBF belt, Danny Jacobs will fight Derevchenko for the vacant IBF belt. So right now, Danny Jacobs is cooking on gas. But he has a tough fight against Sulecki, who's 24-0, who is right up for it next week at the Barclays Centre. So we will have to see. In my opinion, Danny Jacobs is the best middleweight in the world. He's ready to prove it, and I believe he's going to make a statement next week at the Barclays Center.
If Triple G Canelo doesn't happen September, maybe Triple G doesn't want it. Does Danny Jacobs have a shot maybe at Canelo?
Oh, well, Canelo, I mean, even a rematch. I mean, I thought he won the fight. You know, and if he didn't, it was like a round either way. Triple G against Jacobs. So why not see it again?
Was there any chance of him stepping in for Triple G? I know he had a fight, but I mean,
he's in a good position right now. He has a contract with HBO. We have a fight scheduled, so he doesn't need to step in at 3 weeks' notice. He's going to get him sooner or later, but he's got to beat Sulecki next week.
Radio Raheem with Eddie Hearn. Another victorious night for you, man. Beers next.